Alex Carell is one of over 70,000 Google Career Certificate graduates.
The Google Career Certificate program completely changed the trajectory of my life. I've always been interested in computers, but I never thought I could turn this into a career. Anytime I got a little break, I just pop open the course on my phone. That allowed me to have that path into a career that I'm passionate about.
Train online for in-demand jobs in IT, UX design, data analytics, project management, and more. Visit grow.google/certificates.
Empire. What if you could personalize the Pro Tour?
Their statistics, their replays, all kinds of information. So the digital world that is of importance to me is being overlaid in my physical world. And that's how we bring the digital and the physical world together.
That's Dr. Jayaram, co-founder of Quintar, where live professional golf can be layered with virtual experiences. This is the Future Sport Podcast. I'm Bram Weinstein. What is the metaverse? Well, that's a complicated question, and it seems to have very different meanings for many different people, but there are tiers of it that include an all-around deep immersion in a virtual world, to what Jayaram and his team are building at Quintar, where real-life experiences can be personalized, and it feels like it's only the beginning of sports, and life for that matter, being intertwined with virtual realities. Our guest this week is Dr. Jayaram, who is the co-founder of Quintar, as we get into augmented reality and a number of different interesting and futuristic relationships with professional sports that may change the way you see the game. Hi, Dr. Jayaram. Thank you so much for joining us.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Let's start with your company, Quintar. What exactly do you guys do?
So we are creating a platform that will allow our partners and customers to create compelling augmented reality experiences that are tied to the real world. So our platform allows the blending of the real world and the digital world with overlays on the real world.
Give me an example of this. Maybe you could use what happened recently at Sawgrass as an example of it. Can you kind of take us through what the experience is like?
So if you're watching TV at home and you're watching golf, you see the camera zoom in on a player, you see the player on the green, or the camera pans over to the tee, they show a shot trail, a graphic that comes from the tee, and they show where it bounced on the green and where the ball stopped, and you can see all of that. You're in the venue, and you want to be able to see that, because if you're standing watching, you hear the tee, but you can't see the ball. You might be able to see the ball after it comes to rest if you're close enough to the green, but you do not know how high the ball went, how it traveled, how it curved. You don't get to see any of that, and there's no way to see that. You can look at a graphic on your phone, but it does not translate to the real size and the real space around you. So let's say that you want to bring this experience to venue. So you go to the venue, you pull up your phone, and as an augmentation to what you're seeing on your phone through the phone's camera, you point at the tee and you'll start seeing the graphic. You'll see the shot trail. You follow it with your phone all the way to where it landed on the green and where the ball came to rest.
Can you take me through the technology of this a little bit? How was this created to do this? It sounds amazing.
So there are multiple core technologies involved in this. One of the easiest to explain is that people are creating maps of the world. The cities are being mapped, roads are being mapped, there's data being collected. So every square foot, every square meter of the world has some digital information that is being collected. Now, to do an accurate overlay of digital information on top of the real world, and to make sure that it is not off by several feet, you need to also know accurately where you are in that world. It's not good enough to have a 3D model of the world or a good map of the world. You also need to know exactly where you are and where you're looking, what device you're using. And that piece is missing in current technology, or was missing until Quintar came up with a solution. So when you go to the venue and you pull up your phone, the phone needs to know where the phone is. And if you use GPS or other similar technology, you might be plus minus several yards, and you might be off by 15, 20, 30 degrees in your direction of view. And that would not provide an accurate overlay of where the ball is through your phone's lenses. So our technology allows you to use the phone, and using computer vision and AI techniques, we actually tell you where exactly you are.
It's so interesting. So ultimately, I'm watching this through, what the current technology is. I'm not putting on glasses yet. I don't think I'm heading into whatever the broad version of the metaverse is yet for this. Is that kind of the grand vision of what you're building here?
The easiest way to think about the metaverse is in two pieces, right? There's a version of the metaverse where you're in a completely artificial world. You put on virtual reality headsets and you're out there like a second world that you might see out there. The version of the metaverse that we are focusing on, although our technology does apply to both types of metaverses, is the real world metaverse, where you are in the real world, you are in the physical space. Now, can we bring in more information so you're in an augmented real world? So if I have glasses on, I put on my glasses, and I have information that is important for me, that's personalized to me, that is overlaid with the real physical world around me. So if I'm at a sporting venue, I have information about my fantasy players with arrows over their heads showing where they are at any given time, their statistics, their replays, all kinds of information. So the digital world that is of importance to me is being overlaid in my physical world. And that's how we bring the digital and the physical worlds together. And so, that is the metaverse on top of the real world.
Yeah.
And today you experience with phones. Pretty soon, when the AR glasses come out, then it's going to be all around you and everywhere.
So do you believe these two metaverses are both going to exist kind of side by side, or are we heading more in the direction of the full immersive metaverse that we're kind of all imagining that we're heading towards?
In the end, there will be no difference between the two, right? If you think about, I've been doing virtual reality, augmented reality for about 30 years now. And when people the differences between AR and MR and XR and VR and everything else, it's very simple. I mean, you put on headsets, you can see the real world, and you have digital information. We call it augmented reality. You close out what you see in front of you, and we call it virtual reality. And so now in virtual reality, can I stream in video of what I'm seeing in front of me? Yes, I can. So you're not really seeing the real world, but you're seeing a digital version of the real world around you. What do you call that? So these worlds are not really separate worlds. They are a blend of real and virtual in a form, because even when you're in the virtual metaverse, you are still sitting in the physical space. You are standing in your room or sitting in your room and walking around, just your visual presence could be somewhere else. So you're never really separating out the physical and the virtual world, really speaking. So it's just a question of to what degree and in what form they get blended and how you experience it. Those are the differences.
Okay. So when you talk to fans who want to be part of this, what do they want? And then secondarily, when you work with your partners, say like the PGA Tour, what do they want to accomplish out of all of this as well?
So if you think about all the, we could start with sports and entertainment, but really, our platform and our technology goes way beyond that. really a platform, a foundational piece of the metaverse in many different ways. But what for example, the PGA Tour is excited about is they have a goal of creating a more immersive and engaging experience for fans. And as people get more and more attached to digital information, as they get more attached to statistics, as they get more attached to betting, as they get more attached to fantasy sports, as they get more attached to how they are sharing their information with others, the experience for the fans has to evolve with it. It cannot be the same experience that people have had for the last 50 years, where you go to the venue and you see something on a big screen and you see the game in front of you. There's nothing personalized in the digital side of the world or in the media side of the world from the person sitting next to you. You're all seeing the same thing. You're all experiencing the same thing. But with AR, you can start bringing that personalization that people are used to with data. And that's what excites them. And that gets the next generation of fans going as well, both in the venue and at home.
This episode is brought to you by AT&T. AT&T is opening connected learning centers across the country, opening doors for students in need by giving them access to free high-speed internet, computers, and educational resources that can keep them learning. It's just part of our ongoing commitment to help more students stay connected. Because when students stay connected, they get closer to their dreams. To learn more, visit att.com/connectedlearning.
This episode is brought to you by KPMG Risk Services. KPMG believes that when you've earned the trust of all your stakeholders, that's when your business has a solid platform to grow. That's the trusted imperative. KPMG Risk Services develop and put in place dynamic risk strategies designed to help your business earn that all-important trust. Go to read.kpmg.us/trust to learn more.
That personalization as you view it now, let's take golf as one of your partners here. What does that look like? Is that following my favorite golfer? Is that seeing their shots differently? Is that walking the course with them differently? How do you kind of view the personalization aspect of this?
So I was at the AT&T Byron Nelson yesterday, with our partners and other customers as well. And we walk in through one of the entrances, and I'm trying to get to hole 7. Now, let's say in the future you have AR headsets, and you put them on, you just say, where's hole 7? And you look around, and there'll be a big arrow floating in the sky saying hole 7 is this way, and an arrow on the pathway in front of me saying go this way. I can say, where's my golfer? Where's Tiger Woods? If I wanted to see where Tiger Woods was, it'll put an arrow in a different direction, and it'll give me information. He's over here physically, where the space is, and that's hole number 9. And say, take me there instead. Now that's a very unique way of getting to where you want to go. It's different from using GPS and using maps on your phone. And then once you get there, your personalization then kicks in with your information. Let's say you are doing prop betting with your friends, saying, okay, with this group, golfer number 1's tee is going to land within, it's a par 3, it's going to be within 20 feet from the cup. And when I look at the green, there'll be a ring painted on top of the green for me, telling me where I've placed my bet that the ball is going to land. And when the ball lands, whether I'm near the green, I can see the ball, or if I'm near the tee from where I cannot see the ball, there'll be an arrow that shows me where the ball ended up and whether I won or not. I mean, that's just a simple example of how, I'm going to see something different from what you're going to see in the same location at the same time.
This may be a very existential question that has really no bearing with what you're building here, because it's really amazing what you all are making here. But how do you kind of think through we're all having a shared experience, but we're all experiencing it completely differently because we're choosing how to experience it, even though we're all walking next to one another. How do you kind of view that?
Yeah, and that's exactly where the uniqueness comes in. You're getting the energy of the stadium. You're getting the energy of you're getting the energy of the people cheering and clapping. When something happens, you're getting to see that long 35-foot putt happen right in front of your eyes, while you're also tracking how your golfer did at the same hole with that data overlay. So you're tapping into the energy of the venue while tapping into your need for having complete personalization of your experience. It's like the easiest way to think about you go to a movie, you're all watching the same movie,
Yeah.
But you're having popcorn and I'm having nachos. That's my personalization of the experience.
Yeah. This is the epitome of you're having your cake and eating it too.
Exactly.
It's
and
amazing.
If you don't like cake, well, go for fruit if you want.
Yeah, that's right. Okay, tell me a little bit more about what your goals are for other live sports, and I would assume entertainment experiences too, right? I mean, this is not something I think that fits into the model of just professional sports, but concerts and all sorts of entertainment venues could probably benefit from these type of personalized experiences.
Absolutely. We have already started having discussions on concert related potential partnerships, where a fan with a phone today and with a VR or AR eyewear tomorrow could have all kinds of experiences, ranging from connecting with other similar fans, connecting with your friends, to seeing the music scores above each instrument that you're interested in. I could look at the guitarist and it'll show me the music scores of the guitarist. I could show me the lyrics. That could be wayfinding. There's personalization of one of the stars wearing. There's just so much information that's available that can be used to enhance the experience of the fans in the venue. It goes to concerts, then it goes beyond concerts. I mean, there's huge applications in enterprise, in military, in manufacturing, in autonomous driving. It just goes on and on. If you build the platform right, then you just start expanding, from one to the next.
Let me get back to sports with you. Obviously, these venues have history attached to them, and we're talking about you are very present in your experience when you're there then. Can you bring any history to life through all of this as you walk around the venue and study what's happening in front of you?
Absolutely. And that's where the augmentation comes in. You can turn back time. All these digital spaces, what they allow you to do is transcend space and time. You can be in one location and have the experience of a different location. You can be at one time and have the experience of a different time. When you think of historical data, what happened in this golf course last year or the year before, or show me all the shots of this golfer at this hole over the last 10 years, you can see that and you can compare how things have changed. And you look at the futures when you're predicting. And so the answer is yes. Once you're able to overlay the digital and the real worlds together, then your experiences are only limited by the information that's available to you.
It's so interesting. We've had a lot of conversations with a lot of people about trying to figure out a way to modernize the live experience. It sounds like this is where you guys are. That's exactly right. The game is just not going to be enough anymore for people to warrant them to come out and have the type of experience they could have on their couch with technology.
People have been talking about how augmented reality has a potential in the future for changing the world of sports. We are doing that today. And the key there is when you're at home, you want to bring some venue experiences to your home. When you're in the venue, you want to bring something that you could get at home, but not in the venue. You want to bring those into the venue and more. So when you put those two, it's 2 + 2 is not equals 4 anymore. It's 6 or 8 or 10. And that's where things really start blending together. And since we are in sports, I mean, we've built a fantastic team of people with experience in this whole space. And that's why we've been able to rapidly get to where we are today in a matter of a couple of years.
All right, last thing, and I just want to go back to the idea of shared experience. This is so cool that you can personalize your experience at the venue in any way you see fit. How do you share that with others, and how do you think through the importance of shared experience and connectivity amongst fans?
And so, that's a great question, because there's a lot of push in the infrastructure technology side with 5G and more connectivity for all fans everywhere and all people, all users everywhere, whether at home or in the venue and everything else. What that means is that you can have very low latency, high bandwidth data uplink and downlink for every individual, which means that it's data coming from one source going to everybody. So I could have my own group of friends and we could be sharing data at a much higher speed and much higher fidelity than was possible before. And that fits in really well with how we are thinking about it, because you could have a shared experience, whether you're doing fantasy with your own group of friends, or you're doing prop betting with your own group of friends. You're sitting at home and you're watching a tabletop experience of the venue while you're watching TV. You're not taking the TV viewership away, because they tell great stories on TV. So your TV is on and you're watching the sport, and you look down at your tabletop with your glasses on, and there's a holographic video coming from the venue on your tabletop where I'm placing my bets, I'm drawing my own graphics, and my friends sitting around are also viewing it and sharing it. And they don't need to be physically around the same table. They could be at their home, but virtually around the same table through AR. So those are the kind of shared experiences that are coming up in the future, and they're not that far out.
It's all really amazing. We'd like to catch up with you down the road. Dr. Jayaram is the co-founder, CEO of Quintar. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me.
On the next Future Sport podcast, can you train your brain to train your body better?
And we do it in such a way that is designed for the time crunch individual. We're all super busy. And, you're not going to spend, in most cases, have the time to spend an hour meditating, or adding more responsibilities to your day. But if you can fit it in a sort of 2 minutes, and also have clarity on where you're at, and track it over time, all those incremental gains will really add up.
That's Sun Sachs, CEO of Rewire Fitness, where mental fitness and readiness are his believed key to all-around performance. That will do it for this episode. As always, the future is now. This is the Future Sport Podcast. I'm Bram Weinstein.